The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. Part 1, Introduction. Here's a strange paradox. We spend 12 years in school learning how to solve quadratic equations, but no one ever teaches us how to manage $10 in our wallet. So we work for 40 years, live with financial anxiety, and retire asking a simple question: where did all my money go? Hi there. If you've ever felt confused about money, or like you're stuck in a cycle of earning, spending, running out, and then earning again, then the book I'm about to share might give you a whole new perspective. It's a book with no investment charts, no financial formulas, just simple, everyday stories that reveal some of the most timeless money principles ever discovered. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. Published in 1926, and still today, nearly a century later, it's considered a classic in personal finance. Unlike many get-rich books, this one doesn't tell you to invest in real estate stocks or to start a business. Instead, it offers a series of parables from ancient Babylon, once the wealthiest city in the ancient world. Each story is simple yet powerful. A chariot builder who works hard but is always broke. A friend seeking advice from the richest man in town. A king wondering why his people are poor in a city of gold. A wise man teaching his son how to control his money. It might sound like a fairy tale, but every lesson still applies to your life today. Because how we think about money hasn't changed much over thousands of years, even if money itself has changed. From silver to paper to digital wallets. And that's what I love about this book. It doesn't try to make you rich overnight. It simply whispers one truth. If you know how to keep just a small part of what you earn, you can change your entire future. So let's go through the 7 core lessons from The Richest Man in Babylon. Lessons that can help anyone move toward financial freedom. Part 2, Context and Storytelling Style. If an old man started telling you stories from the past, you might tune out. But if that man told you how he turned an empty pocket into enough wealth to feed 3 generations, you'd listen. The Richest Man in Babylon is full of stories like that. It's not about how to get rich in 7 steps, or how to double your money in 90 days. It's not about investing like Warren Buffett. Instead, it offers timeless financial fables. Not with princesses or castles, but with real people struggling with very real problems: empty wallets. The setting is ancient Babylon, once the richest and most advanced city in the world. There, we meet people like Bansir, a hard-working chariot builder who's always broke. Kobe, a skilled musician constantly in debt. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, who started from nothing, the king, who wants to help his citizens escape poverty, and others who borrow, lend, lose money, and learn lessons the hard way. So what's special about these stories? Even though they were written nearly 100 years ago and set 4,000 years ago, they reflect our lives today. The book doesn't just give you rules. It takes you into each person's fears, mistakes, and turning points. You'll see yourself in them. Someone who spends their paycheck as soon as it arrives. Someone who lends money to help a friend and loses it all. Someone who says, "I'll save when I have extra," but extra never comes. This book doesn't preach, it whispers to you. Through stories you'll remember long after you've forgotten the author's name. So, what do these stories really teach? Let's begin with the very first and most foundational lesson. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Part 3, Lesson 1. Keep at least 10% of everything you earn. If you spend 100% of your income every month, then you are working for everyone, except yourself. You work to pay rent, you work to pay the coffee shop, you work to pay interest to the bank, tuition for your kids, clothes, insurance, and at the end of the month, you check your wallet and it's empty. The problem isn't that you're not working hard, it's that you never paid yourself first. In the book, Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, once told a young man who made good money but always ended up broke. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Sounds simple, but ask yourself honestly, how much did you actually keep from everything you earned last year? The story starts with a dream. A man named Bansir, the chariot builder, dreams of being rich. He buys clothes for his wife, helps the poor, eats well, lives peacefully. Then he wakes up. He's still sitting on a half-built chariot. Hungry? Broke. Dreams stay dreams, unless you change what you do each day. Arkad taught a formula so simple, it hurts. Take 10% of everything you earn, every single month, and never touch it. Earn 10 coins, keep 1. Earn $1,000, keep 100. Make 10 million a month, set aside the first million for your future. Not for spending, not for emergencies, but to build the foundation of your financial freedom. Back then, they called this growing rich for yourself before growing rich for others. Today, we call it paying yourself first. Of course, some people will say, my income barely covers my bills. How can I save 10%? Fair point. That's how 90% of people feel. But think about this. Even when your income doubles, you still feel like it's not enough. You earn more, but your savings still stay at zero. Why? Because when income increases, so do your desires. If you don't learn to keep a small part early on, then even if you double your income, you'll end up spending it all or even more. People in Babylon weren't poor because they didn't earn money. They were poor because they didn't keep any of it. And that is no different from us today. Saving 10% won't make you rich overnight, but it is the first step toward financial freedom. Because freedom doesn't come from how much you earn. It comes from how much you keep after earning. So now that you've started keeping 10%, there's another question. How do you avoid spending the other 90%? That brings us to the next lesson. A lesson about discipline and resisting the temptation to spend. Natender Part 4, Lesson 2. Control your spending. One of the biggest lies in personal finance is this. I'll start saving when I make more money. But here's what usually happens. You get a raise, and you upgrade your phone. You get a holiday bonus, and you book a luxury trip. You get paid for overtime, and you open a new tab and start shopping. And in the end, your wallet feels just as empty. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, once said, expenses will always rise to match your income unless you set limits yourself. Sound familiar? You start the month with a fixed salary, you think you'll spend wisely, but by the end of the month, your account balance is close to zero, and you're not sure how. Why does this happen? Because we confuse needs with wants. You need food, yes. But do you really need the $30 meal instead of the $10 one? You need a phone. But do you need the newest model with 5 cameras? This book makes one thing very clear. It's not that you need more money. You need to learn how to live within what you already have. Here's a simple structure. 10% of your income goes to savings. 70% is for daily expenses. This is the part you must learn to control. And the remaining 20% is for debt payments or investments. We'll talk about that later. So how do you control the 70%? Arkad shares a simple, old-school method that still works. Write down everything you plan to spend. Then cross out anything that isn't truly necessary. Keep only the essentials, and stay within your limit. It sounds basic, but almost no one actually does it. You might say, cutting spending makes life feel miserable. What's the point of living like that? But here's the truth. Controlling your spending doesn't mean cutting out all the fun. It means choosing the kind of joy that lasts. and letting go of the kind that fades instantly. A 5-star meal gives you pleasure for an hour. A growing savings account gives you peace of mind every night before you sleep. In a world where advertisements are constantly telling you that you're missing something, learning to manage your spending is no longer just smart, it's a survival skill. Now that you're keeping part of your income and have your spending under control, the next question is, what should you do with the money you've saved? That takes us to Lesson 3. Part 5. Lesson 3. Make your money work for you. If you work hard to earn money, but then let that money sit around in your wallet or a no-interest account, you've got an army, and you're leaving them locked in the barracks. Money isn't just meant to be earned and saved. It's meant to be sent out, to work for you and bring back reinforcements. Arcad described it this way: every gold coin you save is a slave, and if you put it to work wisely, the children of that coin will also become your slaves. In other words, save $1, invest it, and it earns another. $2 become 4. 4 becomes 8. Soon, you have an army of money working for you, even while you sleep. That's the power of compound interest. Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world, but the Babylonians already knew about it 4,000 years ago. There's a powerful story in the book. A father gives 10 silver coins to a moneylender and vows to invest for his son. Thanks to compound growth, by year 50, the money has multiplied more than 16 times, not through tricks, not through fast money schemes, but through patience and time. But this kind of result takes 2 things that many people today struggle with: patience, because we all want results right away, and discipline, because idle money feels like it's just waiting to be spent. You don't need to be a financial genius. You just need to stop killing your financial army with impulsive decisions. Let your money be invested where it can grow. Maybe it's a fixed deposit account, maybe a conservative investment fund, maybe a side hustle, or a passive income tool you understand and can manage wisely. Whatever it is, don't let your money sit idle for too long. Like people, money that does nothing for too long starts to weaken. But don't get too excited and start throwing your money at anything that promises a return. That leads us to the next lesson. A warning the Babylonians had to learn the hard way. Lesson 4. Protect your money from risk. Part 6. Lesson 4. Protect your money from loss. Here's a truth many people don't like to admit. Most people aren't poor because they can't earn. They're poor because they lose money faster than they make it. You save $1,000 all year. Then a friend asks you to invest in a guaranteed cafe business. You say yes out of loyalty. 6 months later, it's all gone. You get a holiday bonus and plan to save it. Then a relative says, there's an investment that pays 18% per month, no effort needed. You try it once and never get the chance to try again. Sound familiar? That's why Arcad teaches this. Once you have money, your next job is to protect it from loss. There's a powerful story in the book. A young man saves a little money and wants to invest it. A friend tells him to give the money to a brickmaker, to buy gems from a foreign trader. The gems turn out to be worthless glass. The money? Gone. Arcad said, if you want to invest in jewels, ask a jeweler, not a brickmaker. So what was the mistake? Not the act of investing. The mistake was giving your money to something you don't understand and to someone you shouldn't trust. In investing, the most expensive advice is often the free kind, because it usually comes from people who have nothing to lose if you lose everything. Keep this in mind. The higher the return you're promised, the higher the risk you're taking. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And the person giving advice might not be wrong. But you are, if you follow them without doing your own homework. This book makes it very clear. keeping your money is the foundation of wealth. But keeping your judgment when you have money, that's the real test. Now that you've started saving, you've learned to control spending, you've learned to invest wisely, and you've learned to avoid bad deals. There's one more thing the Babylonians considered essential, and it's still a huge step toward financial freedom today. Lesson 5, Own Your Own Home. Part 7, Lesson 5, Own Your Own Home. People often say, there's no place like home. But here's the deeper question. Is that home really yours? In The Richest Man in Babylon, Arkad shares a simple truth. A man will live more happily, more confidently, and work more efficiently if he lives in a home that he owns. Because owning your home is a major step toward both stability and freedom. In ancient Babylon, many people lived in rented homes. They depended on landlords. They couldn't fix things. They couldn't plant anything in their own yards. And deep down, they felt like they didn't truly belong. That mindset made it nearly impossible to build anything long-term. The book doesn't say you have to go buy a house today. What it does say is this. Owning a home should be a clear goal to work toward. It could be a small apartment you're paying off over time, a plot of land you're gradually purchasing, or a plan to become a homeowner within 3 to 5 years. Because without a home of your own, you will always feel like you're just passing through life. When you own your home, everything changes. You plant a tree and watch it grow because you know you'll be around. You care more for the space because it belongs to you. And even the way you spend money shifts because you're building something that can support you later in life. Now, owning a home isn't easy, especially for young people in big cities. But having a goal is always better than drifting without one. A home isn't just a roof over your head. It's a foundation for dignity, peace of mind, and the motivation to keep building. And once you have a home, or are working toward one, you'll soon begin asking yourself another important question. What happens if one day I can no longer work? That leads us to Lesson 6, Planning for Your Future Income. Part 8, Lesson 6, Plan for the Future. One day, you won't be able to work 8 hours a day. And when that day comes, here's the question. Will your money keep working when you can't? In ancient Babylon, there was no social security, no retirement pension, no emergency fund for sickness. If you didn't prepare, you became a burden to your children or to society. Arkad said it clearly. The wise man thinks of tomorrow, when his strength is no longer enough, so that money may continue to serve him instead of his hands. Today we call that retirement savings, life insurance, long-term investments, income-generating assets. But above all, it's about having the mindset to look beyond the present. You don't need to be rich to plan ahead. You just need to plan before it's too late. Even if you can only save a few dollars each month, start. Even if you live paycheck to paycheck, set aside something small for the future version of you. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? People spend months planning a 5-day vacation, but won't take 30 minutes to plan for the final 20 years of their life. And here's the thing. Planning for the future isn't just for you. It's a gift for the people you love, so they won't have to carry your burden when you can't carry it yourself. You can't control getting older, but you can choose how much control you'll still have when that time comes. And now that you've learned how to save, how to protect your money, how to invest, and how to prepare for the future, it's time for one final foundational lesson. Lesson 7. Keep increasing your ability to earn. Part 9, Lesson 7. Keep increasing your earning ability. You might save 10% of your income. You might invest wisely, avoid risky traps, and live frugally. But if your income never grows, then you're trying to build a castle on a tiny patch of land. This is the part many people forget when talking about money. It's not just about cutting expenses. Your income also needs to grow. In The Richest Man in Babylon, Arkad remembers when he was just a scribe, copying documents onto clay tablets. The pay was low, the work was hard, and the future looked dim. But he realized something powerful. If he didn't improve his own value, he'd always be stuck writing for someone else. So he started learning to write faster and more clearly. He spent time around wealthy people to understand how they think. He volunteered his time to gain investment knowledge, and he kept asking himself, how can I become more useful so I can earn more? And that's the key takeaway. If you want to earn more, become more valuable. If you want people to pay you more, offer something they truly need. Today, that might mean learning new skills, like design, writing, data analysis, or a new language. It might mean building a personal brand, freelancing, starting a side hustle, or creating digital products. It means becoming someone who solves problems, not just someone who waits for instructions. There is no investment more profitable than investing in yourself, and no asset more dependable than your own skill set. Let's break it down. Someone who saves but never earns more will always have to live small. Someone who earns but doesn't save will always live on the edge. But someone who earns more, saves smart, and invests with discipline, that person is only a matter of time away from financial freedom. So now, you've walked through 7 timeless money lessons, handed down from the ancient walls of Babylon. But before we wrap up, there's one last story about something everyone talks about when it comes to money. Let's move to part 10, the final story. The richest man in Babylon wasn't lucky. He took action. Part 10, final story. The richest man in Babylon wasn't lucky. He took action. People often look at someone successful and say, they were probably just lucky. But if you ask those people, really ask them, you'll learn that most of what they have came from hundreds of small, intentional choices, repeated consistently over time. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, wasn't born into wealth. He didn't stumble onto buried treasure. He didn't win the lottery. He simply started with one habit. He kept a small part of everything he earned. From there, he learned how to invest. He made mistakes. He lost money. He learned again. He helped others. He shared his lessons. And over time, he became the man that the entire kingdom looked to for financial wisdom. There was no magic, no shortcuts, just consistent actions done on purpose. And that's something you can begin today. Financial freedom isn't reserved for dreamers, it's for doers. People who start with small amounts and stay consistent even when no one else sees the progress yet. You can read dozens of finance books. You can watch hundreds of review videos. But if you don't take action, all of it will stay just that, temporary motivation. So if you're ready to start, really start. Don't stop with this video. Read the book. The Richest Man in Babylon won't give you a get-rich-quick formula, but it will help you see money and yourself in a completely different light. Part 11, Conclusion. We live in a world where everyone wants to get rich, fast. But sometimes, what we need most is a book that teaches us how to get rich, slowly but surely. The Richest Man in Babylon doesn't offer shortcuts, but it does show you a path, one that many people have walked before you, and reached the end. If you've made it this far, I believe something about you. You want real, lasting financial change. You want to be in control of your money, not the other way around. And you're ready to start again from scratch, with humility and purpose. So don't stop at this video. Read the book. I've included a link to the official edition in the video description. If you choose to buy through that link, you'll be supporting this channel as well and helping me create more thoughtful content like this. If you found this video helpful, click like to tell the algorithm this content matters. Hit subscribe to stay connected with future book reviews. And, if you'd like, leave a comment below. What's the most valuable lesson you took away from this book? I truly believe the right book, read at the right time, can change the way you live, the way you spend, and the way you think about your future. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, a part of all you earn is yours to keep.